Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Hello, African Diaspora News family. My name is Reneilwe Morema, and I am your host right here on the African Diaspora News Channel. I'm reporting live from Johannesburg, South Africa. The tension between Rwanda and South Africa has escalated to a boiling point, with Kagame accusing Ramaphosa of lying and distorting facts. President Paul Kagame has dismissed what South African President Cyril Ramaphosa said about the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo, accusing him of distorting their discussions. Kagame criticized Ramaphosa and South African officials after the fall of Goma to M23 rebels, particularly because they said Rwanda's military is escalating the conflict. Kagame has lashed out at South African counterpart Cyril Ramaphosa after Ramaphosa accused Rwanda of backing the M23 rebels behind the escalating crisis in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo this week. Kagame has accused Ramaphosa of lying and warned of possible confrontation. South Africa has troops deployed in the war-torn Democratic Republic of Congo as part of a UN peacekeeping mission there, as well as in a separate deployment by the Southern African Development Community, or SADC, aimed at backing up Congolese forces fighting the M23 rebels. But Pretoria is under pressure this week after 13 South African soldiers were killed in a recent surge in fighting that resulted in the M23 militia, which Rwanda is widely accused of backing, making a rapid advance and seizing partial control of the key city of Goma in North Kivu province on Sunday night. Ramaphosa said in a written statement on Wednesday that the M23 and what he called a Rwandan Defense Force militia were responsible for the casualties, while his Minister of Defense, Angie, went one step further. She said in a statement, and I quote, "It's just that at that stage, when they were firing above our heads, the president did warn them to say, if you are going to fire, we'll take it as a declaration of war." The remarks by Ramaphosa and Motshekga have caused a diplomatic spat between them and Rwanda. Kagame verbally hit back in an angry statement posted to his social media on Wednesday night, saying the Rwandan Defense Force was not a militia and, quote, "If South Africa prefers confrontation, Rwanda will deal with the matter in that context any day." He also disputed Ramaphosa's statement that dead South African soldiers were peacekeepers, saying the Southern African Development Community Force was engaged in offensive combat operations. Kagame said he spoke to Ramaphosa on this matter because of their involvement in Eastern Congo. Kagame said Ramaphosa is just pretending to play peacemaker. He is there to fuel the fire into an already fiery situation, and he clarified that the M23 rebels are not Rwandans after South African Foreign Minister Ronald Lamola directly blamed Rwanda for backing M23 rebels after UN experts said Kigali is directly involved with the M23 and are responsible for the death of South African soldiers.
For the last 2 days, on Monday and today this morning, I spoke with the President of South Africa, who sought me out to speak with me on this matter because of their involvement in Eastern Congo. And he's also there pretending to be playing a peacemaker role. And he has a force that has been fighting alongside FDLR and has been fighting the M23 on the instructions of Tshisekedi, because these are people who are not supposed to be in Congo. that these are from Rwanda or the M23 are not Rwandans, please. These are Congolese, and one time he accepts it, then another time he says no, part of it is yes, and then the other part is from Rwanda, and these are the. He keeps on going. And how do we, leaders of our own countries, accept this to go on forever and just accept that we shall be manipulated by Tshisekedi or whoever is supporting him? And South Africa dares even issue threats about what is likely to happen after that, and so on and so forth. Of course, we will see what threats they are talking about.
Listen, to a certain extent, I can hear what Paul Kagame is saying, and these threats that he made, he was under pressure because there is nothing worse than being accused of doing something you haven't done and your reputation being dragged through the mud. Before we blame Rwanda on the issue of the M23 in the DRC, we need to have an understanding of what is happening in the DRC. We can't solely rely on the Western media to tell us what is happening in our own continent. All right, let's go back to the very beginning. During the infamous Berlin conference in Europe, when Western countries were dividing amongst themselves which African countries they'll colonize, the Belgians took Congo, the Germans took Rwanda, Tanzania, the English took Uganda, and so on and so on. These European nations carved Africa like a piece of cake. They didn't care which tribes they were cutting into or in between. Most tribes in Africa have been cut in between at the borders of most African countries. You find that the same tribe is found on each side of the border. It is very common in Africa, to be honest. We had the tribe of the Tutsis, which had its territories divided between Rwanda and the DRC. Why are the M23 rebels fighting against the DRC forces and the United Nations in the eastern part of Congo? The same United Nations that told South Africa that the M23 belongs to Rwanda and it killed South African soldiers. Therefore, the blame must be put on Rwandan President Paul Kagame. That's the United Nations. Anyway, who are the M23 rebels? How are they involved? Well, the M23 rebels are a rebel group that was formed by the Tutsis themselves to defend their territory, which is in the eastern part of Congo. Now, who are they defending their territory from? They are defending their territory against the Republic of Congo government, which has been trying to take over their land in the eastern part of Congo for decades now. Why is the M23 defending itself against its own government in their own country? Because Congo is a lawlessness state, and the president knows that. I mean, countries like the United States, China, and Russia have gone to the DRC, chose territories that they want to take over, and they have armed every tribe that live there to fight each other so that weaker tribes are taken over. Every tribe in the DRC has to arm itself to the teeth. Stronger tribes that have more arms take over weaker territories, and government is on it. The DRC government is on it as well. The United States, the EU, they use the United Nations troop as a cover for gang warfare that are happening in Congo right now. There is no government in Congo. They call themselves government because they run things in Kinshasa, but in actual fact, they are a gang that represents the United States, the EU, and others to loot the rich minerals and natural resources of the DRC. How did they do that? By using the Democratic of Congo forces to displace their own people of their land and allow American, France, England, and Belgium companies to mine on that land, while the indigenous people of that land are displaced into refugee camps, while some are being displaced into other countries. Generations are born outside the Congo because they can't go back home. They've been displaced by the government of the DRC. Their lands are being guarded by the gun. They are being guarded by the government under the watch of the Democratic Republic of Congo government ran by Felix Tshisekedi. This is why the Tutsis, the M23 in the eastern part of Congo, are armed and fighting to defend their land, because if you are not armed in Congo, as a tribe, you are dead. Especially if you have a rich land like the eastern part of Congo, which belongs to the Tutsis, which is rich in minerals that are needed in advancing modern day technology like your cell phones and these expensive German cars. It is no secret that the world is moving towards drones, electric car batteries, and these Razer smartphones. And these minerals needed to create these gadgets are in abundance in the eastern part of Congo. So the DRC government is fighting the inhabitants of the eastern part of Congo. They want to remove them from their lands, displace them so they can make space for the United States and other European countries to mine those lands, exploit the natural resources of that land. And obviously the DRC government is benefiting from these dealings, from these American companies mining there. The DRC government is not being honest. Felix Tshisekedi is manipulating people into thinking Rwanda is the bad guy in all of this. Rwanda is fighting them. Rwanda is punishing us and abusing us, which is a lie. Remember, the Tutsis tribe were divided during the Berlin conference. One tribe was found in the eastern Congo side and the other was found in Rwanda. The Congo Tutsis have formed a relationship with the Rwanda Tutsis. They're like family now. When family is in trouble, Rwanda steps in and help. It helps that Rwanda benefits from these mineral exports from the rich land of the eastern part of Congo thanks to the Tutsis that side. So the DRC government is seeing this relationship between the Tutsis and the Rwanda, and it's using that to push them out to go back into their land in Rwanda. How? Because the Tutsis land is in the eastern part of the DRC. It's all they know. They've been displaced in the DRC during the war. Remember the Hutus and the Tutsis war in Rwanda? The Rwanda's genocide of 1994, where the Hutus were defeated and they fled to DRC. They vowed to regroup and overthrow the Rwandan government. It is said that the Congo government is mobilizing the Hutus to fight Rwanda, but the Tutsis have promised national security to the Rwanda against the Hutus, since Rwanda is assisting them in this exploitation war. South Africa knows that this is a decades-long cultural fight, and as cultural people, we know better than get ourselves involved in cultural family disputes. Kagame is right by saying South Africa is in no position to act as peacemakers. Knowing Cyril Ramaphosa, he stands to benefit from the war and the minerals of the eastern part of Congo. He has the same mindset as the United States and the EU. It is no secret that Ramaphosa has mines all over Africa. And, you know, the Tutsis leaving or being displaced will help him get his hands on these minerals. Ramaphosa's brother-in-law, Patrice Motsepe, is in the mining business. He recently got in a lawsuit for bridging a mining contract in Tanzania. Ramaphosa has no problem with having black people's blood on his hands for his financial benefit. If black people in Congo are an obstacle preventing him from getting his hands on those minerals, he will kill them. He has done it before with the Marikana people, where he killed 34 black miners from Lone Mill Mine, a mine that he owns, by the way. He killed them because the miners were asking for a wage increase. Imagine that. If he can kill people from his own country, what more are the Tutsis and the Rwandans? You know, it just breaks my heart that our soldiers died because of greed under the false pretense of peacemaking. South Africans and the DA has warned Ramaphosa that the South African Defence Force is in no position to fight the M23 rebels or be involved in any active war. They do not have the capacity to do so with their unserviced weapons. But the greedy Ramaphosa could hear none of that. All he saw was a cash cow in the DRC and he needed to milk it. All he saw was an opportunity to have his hands on those minerals in the eastern part of the DRC, just like China, just like the United States, the EU, and Russia. He saw a cash cow and he wanted to benefit. Because we all know that Ramaphosa has mines all over Africa. His brother-in-law, Patrice Motsepe, who has a mining lawsuit in Tanzania, owns mines all over Africa. So he's doing all of this for his own benefit, for benefiting his brother-in-law's mining business and his mining business as well. He's willing to risk our South African Defence Forces' lives for greed. because he wants to be rich. That's what he wants to do. He doesn't care about the cultural conflict that is happening there. He doesn't care about the history of the Tutsis from the Eastern Congo and the Tutsis from Rwanda and the Hutus. He doesn't care. Kagame is the only person that can read between the lines. And today people want to mock him on Twitter and, laugh at him for releasing statements like this. At least he's been transparent and he's telling us what is happening and what he's planning to do. Africa has been in need for a long time of transparent leaders like Paul Kagame. And right now, he's being honest with his plans. He has an open dialogue with the people of Africa. That's a true leader. So just know, if the UN and South Africa's peacemaking mission want to have diplomatic discussions, just know that they want to silence Kagame from speaking about what is really happening in the DRC and what South Africa is really doing in the DRC. I don't think it's for peacemaking. It's all a facade. Wherever the UN is involved, look at Libya. Wherever the UN is involved, it does not end well. What do you think about this segment? Comment to us in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and share the broadcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss these groundbreaking conversations right here